at 9. But we had some. So as we go on, if you feel that like helping yourself to any of the breakfast items behind us, now that I hear I can see a box coming in, which means that now the pastries are in. But we have the tea, coffee, and fruit juices behind us. So this is fairly relaxed working session. And our expectation is that you can feel free to do this. I think as we do traditionally, we'll say a word of prayer, and then we'll start. Papa Mangdus, Ofane Solomon.
Okay, shall we pray? Thank you, Father, for this beautiful morning and the opportunity to gather like this as built environment professionals. Thank you for this opportunity that we can concert our knowledge and skills to contribute to the quality of life of the peoples amongst whom we live and serve. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming. But before on the program, those of you who have a copies of the program will see that there's supposed to be a welcome address by my good self. But I think it's proper that before we do so, what is not on the program is a little bit of self-introduction. A quick round probably will help. My name is Engineer Ludwig Anang Hesse. That's what my mother calls me Kofi. Or she called me because she's gone. Yeah. But it's not on my Ghana card. I'm the president of the GHIE.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. My name is Tony Yao Asari. I'm the president of the Ghana Institute of Architects.
Morning. My name is Ya Okujeto. I am the executive rep for professional engineers at the institution, and I also chair the professional practice and ethics committee.
Engineer Kwapena Bempong, the immediate past president of the Ghana Institution of Engineering.
Good morning. I am Engineer Dr. Kwame Bercham for the co-chair for Public and International Affairs for the Institute of Engineering.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Agnes Ofosuapia, architect, former council member.
Good morning. I am Akusia Sewa Mensah. I'm the current social secretary for the Ghana Institute of Architects and an architect.
Good morning. I'm Nanekuya Beme, also from the Ghana Institute of Architects.
Good morning. My name is Augustus Richardson. Please permit me to sit. My back is a little. I need a structural engineer for that. My name is Augustus Richardson, Vice President of the Institute of Architects.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Alfred Esiedu. I'm the president of National Association of Local Authorities of Ghana, NALAC. Thank you.
I'm Planner Percy Anab Bukari, the president of the Ghana Institute of Planning.
My name is Joseph Quist. I'm a fellow of the Ghana Institution of Surveyors. I'm representing the Institution of Surveyors. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Magnus Lincoln Kwashi. I'm a past president of the Ghana Institution of Engineering.
My name is Godwin Brock. I'm council member of the Institution of Engineering.
Hello, good morning. I'm Engineer Dr. Inyunam Pepena. I'm the Executive Director of the Ghana Institution of Engineering.
Hello, I'm Messiaka for the Ministry of Local Government, Chief TSM Religious Affairs.
I am Kofi Kekeli Ameju, Vice President of the Ghana Institute of Planning.
Felix Ije Amache, a lecturer with the Institute of Local Government Studies.
Oh.
Good morning. My name is Leonora Utubuateng. I'm Director of Professional Practice here at GHIE.
Engineer Juliet Maunyo Bomita, Director, Membership Services, Ghana Institution of Engineering.
So you see, when we're in school, when you look at the architects, they had a lot of women, a lot more women there. The engineering, you see like 100, then there'll be one lady or something. So when we're coming here, we're very conscious of this. So we made sure that we brought a lot of engineering ladies here. So I, as you can see, as far as the engineers are concerned, the ladies outnumber the men. Yes. So we thought that was significant and it needed saying. Okay. Good morning again. And first of all, let's give glory and thanks to our Almighty God for making it possible for us to meet as professionals at this roundtable meeting to deliberate on issues that will make our greater metropolitan area more livable. It is my prayer that the good Lord will take us through this successfully. I wish to welcome you to this collaborative meeting among the built environment professionals that include engineers, planners, architects, surveyors, and local government and governance practitioners. I'm extremely grateful to my colleague, President Architect Tony Asari of the Ghana Institute of Architects, Planner Percy Anab of the Ghana Institute of Planning, and Surveyor Emmanuel Kofi Cobalt of the Ghana Institute of Surveyors for joining us in the Ghana Institution of Engineering to organize this roundtable discussion on the management of greater metropolitan areas in Ghana. I once more take this opportunity to welcome you to the Engineering Center. We feel privileged to host and facilitate this meeting. I also want to acknowledge the following firms and organizations that have sponsored this meeting through some financial contributions. They include the Ghana Institute of Architects, ADK Consortium, Associated Consultants, RM Engineering Limited, Yocrest Company Limited, and Mandev Ghana Limited. Ghana's rapid urbanization and population growth over the past 3 decades have significantly transformed the structure and functionality of the country's metropolitan areas. The implementation of the Local Government Act 2016-936 and its predecessor legislation, Act 462, facilitated the establishment of metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, what we popularly call MMDAs, as part of Ghana's decentralization and local governance framework. At the inception of the decentralized governance system in 1993, Ghana had only 3 metropolitan assemblies, Accra, Kumasi, and the then Shama Ahanta East Metropolitan Assembly. Since then, the population within these urban centers have expanded substantially, leading to the subdivision of many metropolitan assemblies into several municipal and district assemblies. While this decentralization process has improved local representation and administrative accessibility, it has also created growing challenges relating to coordinated urban planning, infrastructure management, transportation systems, waste management, flood control, land use management, and service delivery across contiguous, that's what, or contiguous, which one? Guos, okay. That means next to each other, eh? Okay. Contiguous municipal areas. Today, urban expansion has resulted in the emergence of larger metropolitan regions such as the Greater Accra Metropolitan Area, the Greater Kumasi Metropolitan Area, and the Greater Sekondi Takoradi Metropolitan Area. The footprints of Ghana, in particular, has now extended beyond the boundaries of the Greater Accra region into Eastern region, including Aburi, in Sawam, other places, and Central region, Kasua, Janyanu, and the rest. These areas now function as integrated urban systems, despite being governed by multiple independent assemblies with limited coordination mechanisms. The increasing fragmentation of metropolitan governance structures has created major planning, infrastructure delivery, and operational inefficiencies within Ghana's rapidly growing large urban conurbations. Although Act 936 provides for joint committees and collaborative arrangements among assemblies, the existing framework does not provide sufficient institutional authority, integrated planning systems, coordinated infrastructure delivery frameworks, and efficient greater metro-wide operational systems that facilitate mobility and the economic and social activities of citizens in a manner that is sustainable. For example, land use decisions in one municipality often have direct consequences for adjoining municipalities. Major arterial road networks connecting several municipal jurisdictions carry the overwhelming majority of urban traffic movement, but lacks adequate corridor management systems. The catchment of major drainage channels cut across multiple assembly boundaries, and waste management challenges, especially final disposal and treatment, affect entire metropolitan regions rather than isolated assemblies. Yet planning, infrastructure investment, transport systems, enforcement, and service delivery remain largely fragmented. The growing disconnect has contributed to uncoordinated urban growth, worsening traffic congestion, inefficient public transportation systems, environmental degradation, perennial flooding of our urban areas, and declining urban livability. The challenge is no longer simply administrative. It is fundamentally about improving urban life, enhancing infrastructure coordination, and creating sustainable and resilient metropolitan regions capable of supporting Ghana's future development. Recognizing the urgent need for integrated metropolitan planning and governance, the Built Environment Professionals Institutions in Ghana initiated discussions towards creating a collaborative professional platform to facilitate dialogue, policy engagement, and technical recommendations on issues relating to greater metropolitan management. This culminated in a formal meeting held on 12 May 2024, where it was agreed to have this roundtable meeting. The proposed engagement seeks to bring together professionals and stakeholders from engineering, architecture, planning, surveying, land management, local governance, academia, and governance institutions to brainstorm on greater metropolitan governance systems in Ghana, greater metropolitan land management and spatial planning, greater metropolitan infrastructure planning and delivery, greater metropolitan transportation and mobility systems, sustainable and resilience in greater metropolitan areas, and any other great strategies and systems required for improving the quality of life in the greater metropolitan conurbations. The proposed format is as follows. Unlike a formal symposium, this breakfast roundtable working session will create a more interactive and collaborative environment for strategic discussions and future partnership development. The format includes a 60-minute breakfast and initial ice-breaking period. I hope we enjoy some of the things behind us. If you haven't, please, they are still there. And for you, the 60 minutes is still not over. So we can continue to enjoy that. And we've had some networking experiences already. Of course, Tony was in the center of the discussions, informal discussions, as usual. It commanded all the attention. And this is followed by what we've now started, a 3-hour deliberation that will include, in addition to this opening statement, expecting a 20-minute or so keynote address by an expert in local governance in Ghana, for which we have invited Mr. Felix Amachi of the Local Government Institute, who is here with us this morning. And then we expect a 5 to 10 minutes presentation by a lead person from each of the 4 sister institutions that have organized this roundtable. And then we'll follow up with an open discussion. That means we can all have our say. We are hoping that each institute or institution will nominate one person to act as rapporteur for this session. With the GHIE engineer Leonora Otu Boating has poised themselves to start doing that. No more.
Yes, Mr. President, thank you very much. Mrs. Akosia Obey-Mensah is doing us the honors. Please, want to see your hand. Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, I see my Vice Kofi Kekeli Amejuro to also do that for the Ghana Institute of Planning.
You are here alone yet, or somebody else has joined you already?
Yes, the CEO of the Ghana Institution of Surveyors has joined. Sarah is her name.
So you should rapporteur for us. Okay. Okay, so we do. Sarah is here. Yeah, she will do it. Okay. Thanks very much. Pardon me. No, we are just talking about the 4 institutes. So we'll do that and rapporteur, and hopefully, when we finish, the 4 of them can sit together and try to get a common minutes or notes for us to consider. And we are hoping that we will use the last 30 minutes of the day to define our next steps, what we do next. Already, I've gotten some strong recommendations coming from our big brother who couldn't stand. Richardson, Architect Richardson. It is my expectation that we should be leaving here by 12 noon. And depending on how well you would have done, you may also have earned a lunch. So our expectations really is that by the time we conclude this engagement, we should be able to collate inputs into a joint paper on greater metropolitan management in Ghana. That is the key output that we are expecting from here. And then an agreement on the modalities and time frame for preparing a joint position paper on greater metropolitan management and the method for its dissemination and follow-up. And then the third major outcome is an agreement on the framework of our continued engagement, because I don't think this is the only thing on which we can engage. There are multiple other areas in which we can engage jointly. And even on this, probably we may have to do multiple engagements, even on this topic alone. So we have to agree on what sort of platform we want to create together to be able to do things like this. And that we'll try to do towards the end. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start the business. And thank you very much. The Lord is with us. Amen. So hopefully this sets the tone for our engagement. On our program, we are going to listen to the keynote address, but Engineer Magnus Kwashi Lincoln he's managed to get himself into going to court, and apparently he has to go to Bawe or somewhere there in the other part of Accra. He lives on this other side and he goes to court over here. So he has to leave. So he says he wants to have a small say into this before he leaves. He was going to speak for us as the engineers. So we will break the protocol and give him.
Thank you very much, and good morning once again, dear colleague, built environment professionals. I am truly excited that we can come together like this to deliberate on such an important issue confronting or challenging our cities as they grow. I remember in 2014 when I was president, we started the Built Environment Forum, but it didn't live up to expectation, if I may say. And so I'm excited that if for any time we have to discuss this now. And sometimes I dread it. I remember years ago, I used to have discussions with Engineer Brock that we have to leave some documents. These young people, what are we leaving behind? If for anything at all, one day somebody will read something. And I think that it's a challenge. I will not attempt to list the problems we have because we do know somebody has managed to create a program on TV on Tuesdays, and he's attempting to do that. And a few times, some of us have met on that program. A few weeks ago, I was there with Tony discussing issues about this country. So I think that we have to lead this discussion. We have to lead the discussion. And permit me to touch on three things. And everybody's talking about traffic congestion. So we appear to have the solutions, but probably we are unable to actually contribute to ensure that these things happen. Okay, we keep talking about traffic congestion, and for some people, they think that ameliorating the problem lies with widening roads. It's a counterintuitive truth. The more roads we build, the more congestion we have. I mean, that is it. But we've been talking urban roads. For those of you who may not be aware, as for the pioneers in urban roads, Ludwig is here and so on. Urban roads was set up on the back. If one of the key things was public transport, and this was 1986 from the Duplicator study. At that time, the study said that we needed to have an efficient public transport system. Sometimes people think that we have to wait for the city to fail completely before we attempt this. Now, this is Accra, and I drive around with some of my staff. Thankfully, I have been able to disciple my daughter, who has also become an engineer. And then she's been asking me, Daddy, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? I mean, I won't go to 30 years. In the next 10 years, what will happen to the city? It will grind to a halt completely. And so we need to help. We do know what we have to do. And I think that around these discussions, we should be able to clearly spell out these things. And the place to break through now is the political discourse. How we are able to permeate the political class so that the things that bedevil us, could be done. Look at Takrady, Sekendi Takrady. Look at Kumasi. At the times in 2004, when Urban Roads undertook a study, the projections, everything was pointing to the fact that we should have had an efficient public transport by this time. It didn't happen. What's going to happen? Look at what's going to happen to Ho. What's going to happen to Tamale? What's going to happen to all of these secondary cities? But we think that water will find its level. It wouldn't. So that's just about traffic congestion. But we need to be able to present these things in a way that in the political discourse they appear. How much is traffic congestion? How much is it? And in the US, they've managed to do some of these things where they are able to tell you, if you're in traffic congestion, how many football games you are losing. So the public kinds of engage with us. And I think that in doing this, we need to be able to help translate the technical information into one that the public can also manage and also bring pressure to bear. Look at flood management. Okay, last week on Tuesday, I was on that same program. And I understand that the assemblies here are eager. AMA is eager to solve the problem. How? Because the issue has a source, debris. You understand? So the AMA chief executive, what is he ready to do? How is he going to solve problems here when he's not the one contributing? So somebody is doing something up there. We are removing vegetation cover up there. The runoff has increased. Where the water used to settle, people are now living there when you come the foothills, Ashie and all of these places. Sometimes the precipitation here is maybe like 5 minutes, 30 minutes. But if you see, it's a complete deluge. It's all from these places, but not until we start solving these problems. I mean, it's the same. So where do our waste end up? you go through all the big drains, it's full of plastics, it's full of waste. And we think that once we drop the waste into the receptacles, it will be gone. And we have floods in places where we didn't expect. We have 8 basins in Accra. It's been reduced. People are virtually living in this. And I keep telling people that we can build anywhere, but consult properly so that built environment professionals will help you. If you want to live in the sea, we can help you. You understand? It can be done. You know, there's a railway line in Japan and in China going through apartments. All these things are possible. So people need to consult. If you want to live in the basin, tell us so that we will help you build in the basin. But at the same time, the basin is not compromised. So we have reduced the watershed and now we have floods. We can't manage waste. In fact, our storm drains have also become sewers now because everybody is emptying their septic facility directly into facilities. So this is just to scratch the surface of our discussion, but it calls for a concerted management, which means that we need to be looking at this issue of greater metropolitan areas seriously. In the up around the 70s, Paris, I understand, had about 1,000 municipalities. Then they realized that it was not helping. So they had to look at Greater Paris. Because you can't manage public transport in one assembly. You can't manage waste in one assembly. Because as we speak now, the Tema waste disposal site, which was built to last for 11 years, +2, got full by year 3. Because Accra had no place, so they were sending all their waste to Tema. So Tema is full. So Tema is now contemplating where to build another waste. You understand? But we need to get to a point where if I'm sending waste from AMA to Tema, I'm paying for that so that they can also do this. And some assemblies will have land. Can we turn the waste into electricity? Somebody else is buying, and these are things that are happening in many cities. So we need to be able to put these things together, make it more attractive, so that we can enter the political discourse very, very, very strong, like one of our past presidents said, very, 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 very strong, because we need to be more engaging. We need to ensure that this will carry the weight and turn this document also in a discourse where the public can engage seriously. On this note, I would like to say that let's engage a bit more. I won't talk about the problems because we know the issue, like President said, by the time we leave here, we should be very clear what we want to do. We have a clear document, something that speaks to the issue, something that, can be taken anywhere, and it will help ensure that it's enforceable, so that we can improve the quality of life of the people who live. The question is, how will our cities be in 10 years? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Engineer Kwashi. You always inspire. And when we started working urban roads and he came around, he had a lot of passion for sustainable transportation, and he was promoting cycling and cycling, walking, and public transport, focusing on BRT. And so it's through him that I got my first exposure to BRT. He managed to take us to Bogota. And we went to Curitiba and other places. So he's been passionate about these things for a long time. Thank you very much for your insights. We will proceed with our program, and we've invited Mr. Amachi here, Felix Amachi, to kickstart the discussions from a local governance practitioner's point of view, what they see there. Felix Amachi is an accomplished policy analyst and management consultant with extensive experience in governance, decentralization, development management, and urban governance. He holds a master's degree in public management from the University of Potsdam, Germany, and is currently pursuing a PhD in public administration and policy management at the University of Ghana Business Schools. With over 15 years of professional experience, Mr. Amachi has worked extensively in local governance, public sector reform, and development planning, contributing to policy development and institutional strengthening initiatives across Ghana. His research and professional interests focus on political economy, entrepreneurial and innovative policy, public policy, social protection, local government administration, and sustainable development. He's particularly passionate about advancing effective governance systems and promoting policy solutions that improve public service delivery, urban management, and local development outcomes. Mr. Amachi is widely respected for his expertise in decentralization and local governance and continues to contribute to national discussions on public sector transformation, metropolitan governance, and sustainable development. I met Amachi about a few weeks back, about 4 weeks back or so, at a consultation on, what was it? It was a very disappointing consultation though. And we were seated around the same table. And I happened to be sitting among about 10 or 15 local government practitioners, people from the assemblies and things. And I'd gone there to promote this very idea that we need structures for this greater metropolitan management. That was my passion there. And when we got to the group, there was nothing on the agenda to discuss that. They had some table and they said, check to see if the table is correct. And I was very disappointed. So I took the opportunity. I appear to be the oldest person there. I said what I wanted to say till they stopped me. And apparently, he also shared some of those views. Police trying to keep him quiet because he was all the time trying to distract us from. I'd done one distraction and he wanted to follow my example and they didn't allow him. So when this thing came up, I said, somebody who can be very disruptive probably is the person we need to kickstart this discussion. Amachi.
I should, okay. Great. Maybe I'll be in the corner so that I don't block anyone's view. It's fine, you can see. Okay, great. Good morning to you all. Yes, thank you very much, President. Indeed, it's a great honor and a privilege to be here with you this morning. And as President has said, indeed, when we meet to discuss Ghana and local governance, it's always imperative that we stir some controversies so that we can help reshape and probably, let me steal His Excellency's word, to reset Ghana as well. And I thank you so much with your leadership for this invitation. Let me also take this opportunity to acknowledge my seniors and he has been a great friend and a mentor. Acknowledge you, sir. And my president, he loves to be called Pajo. He's a great guy. He's a great guy. I acknowledge you, sir, for this wonderful impacts that we do. And all of you, my old friend, met him this very morning. Senior, it has been a while, and I'm happy to see you. Great. So without wasting my time, President and your team, I don't know. I'm excited that we are doing this very morning. Today is 3rd June. So I don't know whether it was purposive that we do this meeting today. When we talk about 3rd June, at the day a bad situation happened, that was the day that I was on my way to begin my marriage life. So I had to pick my father all the way from Accra to Kumasi. We got to Circle, we were looking for VIP, and this situation was there. We said, okay, should we go back home? This is serious. I said, no, let's go. Let's find a way to get there. And thank God we are in there. So I think maybe this is timely. This is more important. And no other day probably we can have this engagement. And having this engagement too, also in June, July, is good enough. Indeed, when COVID came, there was no question about where are our doctors. Nobody asked that question. I'm sure those who were senior doctors, specialists, and all of that, when we opened the gas book, I'm sure the word COVID will not be there. They didn't learn anything about something called COVID. But when it came, they were able to help us out. Sadly, when I listen to radio nowadays, around this period, flooding, poor waste management, then our media people will ask, do we have engineers in this country? If I want to steal some voice of the serial callers, I said, but at least we have Kwame Nkrumah, University of Science and Technology. They have trained engineers. For that matter, they have also trained architects and surveyors and all of that. In fact, the build professionals are all coming from there. The taste of it has even influenced the only university has also influenced University of Ghana to also establish a faculty to do with engineering. We thought that it used to be humanities and all of that, but they are also changing course. So I'm sure from today onwards, we will not allow our media people to ask the question, where are our engineers? Where are our planners? In fact, His Excellency the President at the launch of the sanitation day used some interesting words that he doesn't understand why people will be building on roads and the areas that have not been permitted. He's going to ensure that there will be a sanitation code. But I tell you, are done in Sawom, just to say that people will be prosecuted for negligence of duty. So I think that this morning's conversation is timely and it's very, very important. Indeed, President and our great liar has even set the tone. So I'll just build on it few, and then we can have the conversation. How do I signal you that go next? Okay, they go next, yes. So we'll basically have a conversation to conceptualize what we mean by greater metropolitan governance, and then see how some development issues have been discussed in Ghana's local governance system. And then we make an introduction of what we call the greater city integrated model. And then we'll conclude and provide some levels of prospects for all of us to consider. President mentioned for the past 30 years, all of us want to agree, if we are not afraid, Ghana is already urbanized. In fact, the growth or the pace of urbanization in Accra, Kumasi, Tamale, Cape Coast, if I'm not afraid, I would say it's faster than the run of the cheetah. Accra every day is changing. I'm sure data, if we have them credibly, will tell us that at least every day somebody enters Accra as a first timer. We have to acknowledge that with this level of growth, it brings about some levels of complexities. And these complexities brings about challenges. Not to overemphasize them, you and I will appreciate that infrastructure continues to be a problem. As for housing, as a young boy growing under Dr. Ohene Safo, issues of housing was being mentioned. Then I remember I told him that, oh, I'm sure that the way you are dealing with this, I grow up, housing will not be. It's working. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. You have now brought me to the lecture hall. Housing continues to be limited for us. Transportation. Oh, okay. Great. As for sanitation, our lawyer just mentioned it. 5:30, 6:30, you are going to somewhere pram. On the motorway, you see Bolayazo group of people speeding as you are also speeding, sharing the road. Where are they going? They are going to dump their refuse. If we are lucky, they will get to their destination. If we are not, along the line, they share the refuse with us. They intentionally sometimes take some, remove some, as if something has happened to their car, and we are not managing waste properly. As for service delivery, we continue to ask the questions: water, electricity, and other services we continue to cry about. If these challenges have been with us, next year we will be 70. And we are still talking about these basic services that Maslow told us to have. Then we need to change course, because we cannot get great results when we keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. Not to say that we have not done anything. Otherwise, I'm sure my boss Anab would not let me get out of this room. Because as a planner, I know the kinds of models he has developed over the years to help improve our planning system. But still, we need to do more. So at this juncture, it's imperative that we integrate, we coordinate, and see new elements within the Ghana framework. Let's bring our conversation into a concept. What do we mean when we say greater metropolitan governance? Simply, we are saying that we need to have a coordinated management of our urban districts. Across these municipals and district assemblies and metropolitan areas. Not only that, we need to set out within the framework of institutional representation, private sector, citizens, traditional authorities, civil society, all coming together to ensure that we have this coordinated effort running. Because cities are becoming spatially, functionally, and economically interdependent with each other. Senior, somebody was telling me, I stand to be corrected. He says that the building that AMA, the land that AMA is seated on, it belongs to Kwale Kulote. Yes, interesting. The biggest metro, arguably, where the office is seated, belongs to another small municipal assembly. That's the kind of understanding. The interdependence. Their own land. If they are seated in Koleklote, it means that coordinate boundaries, but it's about service delivery. That is why the framers of our constitution established what we call district assemblies. I've highlighted few for consideration. That parliament, with all what they do, interestingly, yesterday, the speaker says that they should go back and do the thing again. He doesn't understand. Let us have a district assembly and clothe them with the capacity, one, arrest and prosecute and ensure that the laws are working. Enforcement is key. We don't have time to go through all of that, but when you have good time, it's the foundation of our discussion that we see MMDAs in Ghana as the planning authority to plan everything. And the key one in Section 12 is to plan the human settlement, where you will live, where to work. It is the responsibility of local authorities to tell us, here will be a hospital, here will be a school. As they say, the land belongs to the traditional authorities. The land belongs to clans. The land is for the chief. But what we do on the land, the Constitution has given to MMDAs to do. So that authority is very significant. I will not labor on this one, Mr. President. As we have all agreed, for the past 3 decades, we are in an urbanized settlement. And I'm sure this one, you will not be surprised. It's familiar. Ghana here, Ghana there. Everything within Ghana, as somebody said, wherever you see Africa, there will be a Madagascar. Slums are all over all our urban areas. As beautiful as you can see, bottom left, there are bottom right, sorry, top right, top left, right? Yes, top left as well for you. But how do we manage this? We are not done. We cannot close our eyes. We cannot put our hands on our heads and say we can't do anything. Why? Because the current landscape of Ghana creates us a very important element. We have Greater Accra within, Greater Kumasi. When His Excellency the President was giving us a lockdown, mentioned Greater Kumasi metropolitan, people were asking, yes. When I say I'm going to Kumasi, maybe it's not Kumasi that I'll be going. Maybe it's Ejiso or Juaso that I'm visiting. But I will tell my family that I'm going to Kumasi. That is the kind of things happening in Ghana. My dear colleagues, when you look at your left side, that is Ghana, map for you, and that is Ghana. And you could see the boundaries, 261 MMDAs, authorities, 261 districts, generic language. That whoever is considering this, we leave it up to you. It depends on the person arguing. 261 is too much. Somebody will say, oh, no, we even need more. Why do we need more? Or why is it too much? With all of this, I live in Medina. I have a family in Medina. Maybe I've rented or have built in Medina. However, where I get my daily bread is in Tudu. So at dawn, I go to Tudu, do anything that probably increase the waste in Tudu. And then when it is 4:30, I get back to Medina and leave the Tudu group of people to deal with it. That is the kind of country we are in, we are growing in. But consider the 261, the laws of Ghana establishes what we call the local government system and its structure. That when you check section 1, subsection 3 of the Local Governance Act 936, it says that the first language, probably, don't want to stir some controversies, but it's important that as professionals and analysts, we consider that. How do we create a district assembly? The law says that if you want to create a metro, when you see 250,000 human beings in a particular area, create a metro. That's the first one. If you see 95,000, create and call it a municipal. If you see 75,000 human beings, population, create it and say it's called a district. That has been the situation. Even though below that, the law talks about geographical continuity and also talk about economic viability. The indicators for economic viability, I have no idea. Because this is created by the president on the recommendation of the Electoral Commission. So what is economic viability? My little economist probably will tell me that when you see people are buying and selling, when there's a small market, it means that it is economically viable. Create a district out of it. That's what the law says. However, with your experience within, there are other informal criteria that are used. A flag bearer will go into a paramountcy, start campaigning, and either the flag bearer will propose, if you try and vote for me, probably, when I become president, I will give you a district. The truth are some. It influences. So when the president comes, oh, you promised that a district, because when you promise a district, maybe that promise within it to say that, okay, when we create a district, there will be a municipal or a district chief executive. Maybe your nephew will be the one I will appoint. It becomes a motivation. There have been occasions that traditional authorities have walked to presidents, ministers, and make the argument that we need a district. If you give us a district, we will vote for you. So in such considerations, every president has a social contract. If these promises are given, me too, I'll be human being. If nothing at all, it will be written down. When Felix and Co are doing analysis of local governance in Ghana, they will mention that at the time that you were president, as we say, it was done during Kufuor's period, during Nanado's period, during Atamo's period. So we'll continue. So in actual fact, my dear colleagues, I'm waiting for His Excellency to do the second one. Because we need to also write again that second Mahama created this district and that district and that district. So that the party foot soldiers who can use it for campaign. That's the struggle we are having. But as professionals, we need to make our recommendations. Is that the way to go? How? Should we stop at 261? Or should we break the 261 and come to 150? The yes is louder in my ears, and I'm excited. However, how do we defend that? What are we gathering to make that recommendation? Because we are making a professional argument of 150. But how would it fit into the political argument? Because at the end of the day, it's a political decision. So how are we marrying that? My president and other colleagues earlier on, before even we started the conversation, issues about behavior was informally discussed. Therefore, be part of our problems. Slums all over. I was once doing a research with a great professor of mine, somewhere around Gbegbeise, and also Old Fadama. And that's where I realized that there's a small kiosk with an air conditioner. I said, hey, now slum, this is slum. Slum there, we'll be thinking about people who are poor, people who don't have money, people whose income is as little as 100, 200 Ghana cedi, even 300 Ghana cedi per month. But how are you able to have air conditioner in this small room? Air conditioner for the air. Say, East Legon for the air. Now, Old Fadama there, how come air conditioner? That should tell you some economic indicators there. As for infrastructure, I will not labor it because we've discussed it in the morning and we'll continue. Traffic congestion. And that was revealing to me when senior lawyer mentioned that the more roads that we build, senior engineer, yeah, senior engineer, sorry. Yes. That the more roads that we build won't solve the traffic congestion. In fact, we'll rather increase it, if not make it worse. I said, oh, this is interesting. How do we communicate this to the politician? Because Express Road 1 will be coming. Immediately the first one comes, we need the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, maybe 261 express roads. So, so that's the point. So how do you communicate to the politician who have the final say on this, that it's not about them. It's about how the people will live well. How do we communicate that? As for fiscal constraints, it's always the tune. There are some assemblies for that matter. Nothing is there, but we have created it. Probably that's why it goes to defeat the economic viability. You ask them, you say, no, we don't have anything. Oh, No IGF. I said no IGF. We don't mobilize anything. We are waiting for common fund. So if Honorable Yamson is not ready yet, then it means that we're also not ready to do anything. Fiscal constraints. If data has shown that when we pick the national assemblies in Ghana, their direct contribution is what revenues we contribute to national. So it's like everything is mobilized by central government, and then we get it, and then we'll go there. So my sister is raising a very significant conversation. As for what they remove, it's a difficult and and you expect me to pay myself personally as part of my research and engagement. I followed my members to see how they help the assembly because they are there and they'll be talking about sitting allowance, ex gratia, and all of that. So I was encouraging them that as this community engagement, let's go and they help our revenue collectors to make money. About how many times do they collaborate? How many times do they engage? I don't know whether it's because of the parts. We are all interested in winning, being number one, being number one, being number one. So we compete. We do what will make us be published that, oh, we are the best and all of that. So why do I collaborate with AMA? I want to beat AMA. I want to beat TEMA. I don't know. I have no answer to that. But I'm thinking that, is it because we create competition? Because I love competition. Competition makes you to think better. You become more innovative. But how can we bring competition and innovations and collaboration together? Everyone is doing the same, different things. So we need to understand that metropolitan governance cannot be done with a district-centric view. We need to elevate the thinking to a metropolitan-wide thinking. How can we collaborate with each other? Because that is Ghana's situation. But this is not the first time. Other countries have done it. Greater London, super. Joburg, super. We can bring to get our understanding of our 150. How do we bring smaller municipalities together? Can we think about Medina Adenta metropolitan area? I'm sure the Medina people may say yes or no. Adenta people will say yes or no. We'll get into that. Sao Paulo, Kuala Lumpur. So there are other indications that others have done it, and Ghana too can do it. But what is significant is that they had a better understanding of what they call a metropolitan authority. We'll talk about RCC very soon. And then maybe in our conversations, we can see it. Let us appreciate that if we want to have a greater metropolitan governance, there is a window of opportunity because there has been a review. There's a discussion about what we can do with our constitution. Can we factor greater metropolitan governance into the constitution and create a metropolitan authority that will oversee and ensure we have this? Currently, IMCC is leading the review of local governance bill and see if we can improve upon it. This is an opportunity, a great window of opportunity to insert metropolitan governance in it so that we can elevate the conversation around accountability. That our duty bearers see citizens as customers who need services and should be treated nicely. Not a situation that everything you are here disturbing us, but see them as without them, we cannot progress, we cannot perform. So that we can enter into a framework of what we call the greater city integrated model. We have to live away from the fragmentation, the siloed districts. We are doing it on our own, we alone, and all of that. I'm better than you. Can we move away and come into working together? Because we have a regional coordinating council. Though, by law, for me, it has a challenge because it is still a deconcentrated unit, for that matter, within the presidency. It does not have that serious powers to command unless you have a different minister, either a commando minister or honorable Oklu within the frame, who can mobilize, lead, and all of that. Because by the word regional coordinating council, without a budget, and its budget stands with the presidency, is difficult. When you hear the RCC has demolished, immediately that one comes out, there have to be a rejoinder or a correction that the RCC cannot demolish. It's a district authority that can what? Demolish. So it becomes a bit of difficulty. And if you are a MCE and you do not do your things well, President will hear of you if you do not apply anything called human face. A great window is coming soon. Yesterday, I don't know if some of you watched City FM, City Channel 1. So Executive Director was there discussing the powers and mandates of Interministerial Coordinating Committee on decentralization. And the decentralization policy of 2026 to 2030 has just been approved by Cabinet. And that is where we see things within. Integrated governance is within. With the 6 pillars that's mentioned, fiscal decentralization talks about all of this. In fact, the fiscal decentralization, looking at that, it's time for us to pass what we call the municipal finance bill. Let's get it into law so that the assemblies can go to the market, go to the stock market, get there, borrow and do all wonderful things. I'm sure some people who are financial experts say, hey, bankruptcy, let's be careful, and all of that. MCU go and borrow and then government has to. So those government, but it looks at that integration of metropolitan governance within that we need to work together. It's not only that you have this special thing, but if you have this special natural resource that you are producing, can I be the recipient or the consumer of this? We work together, not from Accra to Palermo, but from Accra, it still can stay within Kumasi, Tema, and all of that. And this is a great one that we call the sustainable cities and smart urbanization. How can we do it better? My dear colleagues, in bringing our conversation to a conclusion, it's important we appreciate the roles of informal institutions. Informal institutions in various forms. The bigger one, traditional authorities. If we are talking about Ghana's, Mr. President, we cannot do without traditional authorities. Why? Because when you hear KEEA, Commander Edina Ebrim, so Eguafo Ebrim, you could see that this 4 is representing paramountcies. If you hear other ones, you can mention, oh, I like my Kumasi, while you hear Ahafo and North, Southwest. You hear the names, then you realize that some of them, AAK, is about paramountcy. How do you want us to bring AAK and KEEA together as Greater Metropolitan Assembly? How do we do it? You say, because even previously, as we discussed, probably some of them were created based on political consideration that we will vote for you. So as experts, professionals, in our conversation, we should not run away from the political interests. Because at the end of the day, your advice is so nice, so beautiful. It's so meaningful. And that has been some of the things that we have been going through. But how do we convince them so that it will help them? The issues about community engagement is key. Development partners, civil society needs to be involved in this conversation. I'm sure that's why your good self are here. In conclusion, I just want to suggest that our goal, which should be a shared one, is that we want to have a fair, resilient, and economically viable cities. We don't want cities that we ask about IGF and then they will tell us that we don't want a district assembly where workers will come to work on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. They are on their way back home. Out of the 5 days, working days, they work 2. Because where they work, facilities are not available to help them. Before you can become a planner, you have to walk all the way to Kumasi. You want to be a chartered accountant. How do I stay in something called a district, which could be a village, that there's no ICA Ghana there? I cannot become an engineer when I'm in a particular district. How do we do that? It's imperative that we think about it. Therefore, government, private sector, civil society, and citizens needs to come together to ensure the metropolitan governance can work. Yes, it can, because others have done it, as we mentioned. In Ghana, we can do it. Thank you very much, and we can reflect on some of these questions to help us in our conversation. My name is Felix Ejei Amati. Thank you very much for this honor.
Thank you, Felix Ejei Amachi. There was an engineer with Ejei in his name who was trying to be president something not too long ago. He didn't succeed. Thank you very much. Please, yes, you can take your seat. Thank you very much. I think this is a very insightful presentation. When I said we are giving you 20 minutes, I didn't believe that I can enforce that. And when we were going on, people started looking at me and said, do we give him all the time? This man can talk up to tomorrow. Thank you very much for gingering up the topics for discussions. I think we will move straight to the perspectives from, I think the engineers have spoken already, so we'll do planning, architect, and surveyors. So.
Well, thank you very much. Okay. Yes. Let me sit. Okay. So, I'm Planner Percy Anab Bukari, the president for the Ghana Institute of Planning. Having heard from Engineer Magnus and then my own friend Felix from the ILGS, the issues are quite broad, but to set the tone for this discussion, I would want to look at the issue of metropolitan governance and management in about 2 or 3 areas. The first one has to do with the delineation of the metropolitan area, how to delineate it. And I think Amache mentioned some few issues. In the first place, why do we fragment and later we come and we think about greater metropolitan governance? In the first place, why did we fragment? Look, let's bring the matter down. AMA that we knew. So when, let me give you some few history issues. So 2007, 2008, there was a project known as the Urban Transport Project. And he was our boss on the Urban Transport Project. At the time, there were 4 assemblies. So the UPTUs, which is Urban Personal Transport Units, were 4. They were created in 2007 to 2008. So I belonged to the one at Gan East. Then there was another one at Gan West. Then there was another one at Tema. And there was another one at AMA. Just when the project was coming to light, in the twilight of 2008, thereabout, they created additional ones. So Gan East had oversight responsibility of Medina and later to Adenta. Then Tema, which had an oversight responsibility of the then Tema itself, and Ashaman now had to manage Adenta. But because Adenta was close to Gan East, they gave that one to us. Then subsequently, they created Katamanso. And now, you know, we have Tema West there. Now, come to Gan West. It was just Amasaman. And just when the project started, they created Gan South. That is Weja. And now Gan South is no Weja. Now we have Weja by Municipal Assembly. And we have Gan South Municipal Assembly with the headquarters at English here, Amanfro. And they created Gan Central. That is Sotuom. And now they've created Gan North. That is Amamole. But the office is around. They are looking at building their office at Ofanko. That is just one. So Gan West has metamorphosized into 6. Gan East then, 2 or 3. I remember 2012 when we created Lanquantana Medina. Then the Tema issue. Now you come to AMA. AMA had 10 sub-metros. So the idea was the way they were creating, I tried to probe and I realized that they wanted to create the municipalities along the lines of the sub-metros. Along the line of sub-metros. And that was what has been done. Just that they've not been able to create 3. So the 3 is now the AMA. That is Ashedu Keteke, which is the Jamestown proper area. Then Ablekuma South, which is where we have the Mamprobi area, Kolebu area. Then they were trying to also create the Okankwe South, which is the Kaneshin down to the circle area, but they were not able. So they added it to the 3, making AMA. The last one that was created is your assembly, which is Koleklote. That is how come you find the Kimbu area in Koleklote, and then AMA is to the other side. So actually, that small Kimbu area where the dome, the octagon is, that's the boundary. So they are just on the boundary. So this way towards the ministry is Koleklote, and then it will move that way. Then towards the Makola side is AMA. What am I saying? What I'm saying is that why do we go ahead and defragment or fragment these whole places, and we'll come back dealing with a greater metropolitan area issue? If you are dealing with a road, a corridor, I think the N4, the Medina Adenta Road. Yes, Accra Medina Road. So my office is just on the foot of the hill at Ayimensa. So from Ayimensa to the CBD, you remember that was part of our pilot. Mensa to CBD. They gave us a task 2008, 2009 to find a space for the BRT terminal. Money was there, get a space. We went round to the left and to the right from Mensa through to Adenta, Madina Zongo Junction, Atomic Junction. Then you enter into the East Legon area, the Tetekwashi, then down to all the stops up to Kimbu area, left and right. We couldn't find any. Some of the spaces we found, it was difficult for them to release it to us. But today, as we speak, University of Ghana has given it out. Most of you know what is there now. When you are terminating from the Atomic towards the Atomic Junction, you've seen the redevelopment there, the things that they've put there. And it got to a point that Highway was considering bringing a flyover, crossing the TF hostel to the Presec area, just to avoid the Atomic Junction. But the Atomic Junction problem is not a problem of congestion. It's a land use issue. Immediately the fire outbreak, those who remember at the Atomic Junction, they stopped the vehicles, everybody from using that terminal. They took them to somewhere before you get to the TF. Others went to the North Legon area. There was no traffic for over 2 to 3 weeks. Immediately the total filling station was opened again. The gas filling station was opened again. And then the terminal started, the Binab filling station on the other side. The whole place started, the congestion started again. So what I'm saying is that at times we score own goals. This particular one is an own goal that we've scored. The idea, what they intended to solve by the creation of the municipalities, I think they've just failed. Economic viability, Ayawasu East, Ayawasu West, not Ayawasu East, Ayawasu North, and Ayawasu Central. Why should there be assemblies on their own? Let's take Ayawasu East. Ayawasu East has about 1/3 belonging to 37, and then the seat of governance. That is the Jubilee House or the Flagstaff House. Then you take the GBC, TV3, Kanda, the back, finish. Ayawasu East is finished. The rest is Nima. So for me, I think that defragmentation, some of it, and you pointed it out, the issues, what necessitates the creation of those assemblies is not the economic viability, it's not the contiguous, geographic contiguous, it is about some political, and then we come back here to sit, and once we discuss the key issues of transportation, the key issues of urban mobility, other things, infrastructure for municipal governance, then we are now faced with a lot of issues. And I know those from, I can see the ministry people here, those from Gamma projects. Today, if you are organizing a program for the Gamma area to find out how to construct one drain from one point to the other, you are bringing 25 assemblies together. The cost of managing the process. The other one I want to bring to bear is the issues of we understanding the road issues, we understanding the waste management issues, and we also understanding what we need to do when it comes to housing. The issues we find most of the time is about land use. It's about land use. Why do we all wake up at a particular point in time and we are all towards one area? There are about 4 corridors in Accra using the Accra system. As for Kumasi, there are about 7 or 8 corridors. But I think we are all in Accra here. Everybody moves to one place. Unfortunately for Ghana, one of the only places in the world where our commercial capital and our administrative capital, not just that it's in Accra, but it is at the same place. So you are coming from the main, you move to one side, it is the ministries, you move to the other side, you go to Makola. So it puts a lot of pressure on us. It puts a lot of pressure on us. So if you want to tackle some of these issues, it's about land use, where people live. Where people live. Is Accra congested? No. But it's because of the way we've organized the space. We've not been able to densify. So everybody who gets money here is going to, if you were born in Medina, like myself, I'm looking for a land around Abokobi towards the mountains, Pongpo and the rest. If you are born in Dansuman, you are looking at Weja and the rest. If you grew up around Achimota, you are looking at Amasaman beyond Amasaman. If you are a Tamaboy or a Tamagai, you are going towards the N1, towards the Pram Ningo area. That is how the style is. But what happens to the Tema itself? Is it full? Have we been able to densify it? These are the issues we should be contemplating on, so that once we are tackling the issues head on, we need to look at how we can densify our areas, bring in ways of having to live within the city area with more organized spaces, so that we don't spread thinly with this sporadic urbanization. Then after we spread thinly, we are thinking about how to get some things to them. And yesterday I heard you on City FM when Caleb was, and you pointed out the clear issue about the flooding. So flooding in Accra, you see the flooding at Kole Lagoon or maybe the Peshi area, but the thing starts from where my office is. So when I come out from the office and I look on the hills, when we started planning the area, and the SDF said Accra had a green belt. So when we were planning the SDF and we said Accra's green belt is from Brekusu towards the Adankrebi to the Ebre Hills. As we were planning, they were busily selling it. So the plan is that immediately you plan and it becomes a green belt, you go to the Brekusu chief, you go to the Ebre chief, you go to the chiefs around that area, then you acquire those areas, then you protect those areas. But if you don't protect it, as you see, every day when I'm going to the office, there's a new building coming up. That whole place will become like McCarthy Hill very soon. Just 2-3 years ago, when I moved there as my office, I could count the buildings there. But now, if you want to know, use the nightlife assessment. In the night, you see the lights coming up on the hill, and you do maybe, a study of it almost every month to month or year to year. You see the changes that are occurring. And I think these are the issues that I want to bring to the fore. Once we move into the discussions, we can delve into some of them more into detail. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Interesting. In the 1990 strategic plan for Accra, it took some big money, that time $5 million or $10 million, about 5 years to develop that plan. 1990 or 91? 91. The strategic plan. These issues we are raising, densification was one of the key strategies. The green belt around Accra, so that the metropolitan area will have a break, so that a different settlement can come after the green belt, have a motorway in that area, have a green belt, have a railways there, and all these things were done. But again, like you said, we put these nice things on paper. There was an office at where they've demolished, where the Greater Accra Town and Country Planning used to be. The seaside. The seaside there. There was an office there for this. I've forgotten this man's name, who was Marine Drive area there. We're all going there, and we're young then when these things were happening. Oh no, not really. These days I don't make that claim, because I know what happens in my knees and the things I try to do. They say I can't even walk anymore. I should do sit exercises. So, Tony.
Thank you, Mr. President. I honestly, I'm out of words. I don't know if I would even have anything to say. But anyway, Professor Machi, is today your wedding anniversary? It was the journey. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you very much for your presentation. And Mr. President, first, let me say that I think on behalf of my colleagues, we are very happy to be here, and thanks for organizing this roundtable conference. And, we have had this conversation for a very long time, and I'm wondering whether talking is even worth it. I always tell Akosia Obemensa, my architect friend, that the most common phrase in this country is "the problem is." And I had a conversation with her, and we went on, and I said, "Look, Akosia, can you give me what the solutions are?" And that can our conversation be that, oh, the problem that we have seen is this, but the solution is. Because if we are not careful, we will end up writing another book which would be fit for the Bible, titled The Lamentations of the Built Environment. I don't want to be part of it. When I in the morning, I am my wife's driver, so I take her to work, and then when she closes, I have to find a way of also closing so that I can take her back home, so that I can have my peace of mind. When I set off from TMA. I go through Krowo, I go through Lejukuku, I go through Koliklote, then I end up at AMA. And then I'll come to Kanda, which is Ayawaso. That's Ayawaso East. And it just tells you that my journey is not a simple matter of taking my wife to work, but always going through many assemblies. Sometimes the traffic will tell you to go through maybe Teshimami. And this morning, whilst I was going through Teshi, I was asking myself that, and it's something that I do, that in China, when you are there, you hardly see the skies because there are a lot of buildings, nice landscaping. And so when it is raining, the rain just springs up on you. So when I drive through Teshimami and I always get into this frenzy of, do they have an MP? And this morning, I said the same thing. And I was telling them that the land values of the buildings we have in that area and the structures we have on them is incongruent. And it's difficult to explain, to anybody that we are a group of sensible people. I call it ordered chaos. When Doxiades did the new master planning for Tema New Town, if anybody can lay their hands on it, I'm sure Kekele, you would be the best person to tell us, but they were very beautiful layout in hexagonal shapes. I don't know if anybody has seen it. There were hexagonal housing shapes. Now, between 1960 and 1985, thereabouts, the original houses were unrecognizable. And so I was part of a research team. It's a professor friend of mine who died last year. And we were comparing the layout of Tema New Town to Salt Pond. And I was telling her that the environment, the cold weather that annually hits the coastal areas requires that the buildings that we have are arranged in such a manner that they themselves become windbreakers. So there is a certain intuitive science to the settlements that we have. And most of the coastal settlements, the first buildings along the coast is not for accommodation. It is for storing nets and fish gear and a whole lot of other things. Now, and when we decide that we want to build our cities, we must then quickly discuss environment, culture, and the way we live as a group of people. And it brings us to this point of how architects think. And, you know, as you were talking about the master plan, the 1991 master plan, I can, without taking a look at it, say that it is in 2 dimensions. And I am sorry to say that none of us can see properly in 2 dimensions. Nobody sees in 2 dimensions. I was lucky enough in 2014 to win a job in Senegal, and I've spoken about this amongst my colleague architects. Senegal is building a new capital called Damniandiou, which is to the north of Dakar. And they have, you know, they've done the master planning, initially demarcating the areas, you know, showing the various functional areas. But when we got there, we were given about 89 acres to come up with the sector plan. The requirement for that submission was that you were going to tell us how the space will look, not how you were going to do your layout. They've given you greenfield. And maybe, Mr. President, I'll share it with you so that you can share it with the rest of the people for you to see. And I think, Nanekia, I've shared it with you before. You know, what we did, and it took us 8 months to plan the area. We had to look at where the mosques were going to be, shopping malls, and, you know, the houses, various heights of houses, green open areas, where sewage treatment was going to go, how we were going to manage disaster, and therefore public open spaces. It was very detailed. It took us 8 months to master plan the whole thing, develop 3Ds, you know, all the street views where, you know, we are going to have walkways, bicycle lanes, and everything into detail. We can't, look, this whole issue of we are planning. If we do not present the visual expression of what we are expecting to see, nobody will buy into it. The chiefs will not buy into it. And also what actually happens is that if we keep on doing layouts, we diminish the thinking when it comes to planning. We diminish it. So what is actually happening is that for the chiefs that we are talking about when we acquired this greenfield and all of these things, no. The chiefs call a surveyor. The surveyors do the layout. They start selling. Then the chiefs will come and, you know, when they have a deba, that our roads are bad. When you were selling the land, where were the roads? What did you do with the money? You know, so we are getting to a point where we need to be able to step back. Let's start creating visions. Let it be something that we can see, looking into the minds of the people we want to work with, and we can do that. And I've never had any instance where we are submitting any scheme in Ghana where the assembly is asking that we should come, and all the things we do when it comes to AIP are singular project based. And even that, it was the Ghanaians of Architects that 14 or 15 years ago insisted that we should do application in principle by showing how the buildings will look like. We engage so that we don't submit working drawings and then, you know, these permits do not happen. So I want us to think about these things very well. But in conclusion, I want us to do this. First and foremost, let's walk out of this place with the phrase, the solution is. 2, let's start thinking of a joint framework for envisioning metropolitan infrastructure. Look, myself and Architect Augustus, when the previous government started working on the railway, we went to the Minister of Railways that we want to be able to create railway stations that mimic our architecture. Our railway stations shouldn't look like the ones we see in London or India. Can we have our own architecture when it comes to railways. You know, when we spoke to them, he was talking plenty. Oh, we will get back to us. Lip service. We need to be able to have a structure that can envision and create images of what we want Accra, Ghana, generally to be. Metropolitan Infrastructure Atlas is something which we could also consider. You know, whenever we talk about master planning and all of these things, we just talk about it. We never see it. If me, almost 30 years of practice of architecture, I cannot simply go and say that, oh, this is the master plan of Accra, or this is the master plan of Tanda, and that, oh, we are looking at in the next 10 years or 15 years to look at maybe, you know, the number of heights and, you know, the road width would have to be increased. So we have to let go some of the land to be able to create walkways. How do we create a safe environment? We are not doing that. We hear dreams. We need ideas that we can see with our own eyes in 3 dimensions. And in fact, not even sometimes we even want it in 4 dimensions. These days, people design and want to be able to implement it beyond just how we see in 3D. So let's look at it. We as architects, we have the tools. We are willing to collaborate. There are no architects, as Augustus was saying this morning, that architects hardly decide that they will work alone. They always work with engineers. We work with engineers every day. So we need to be able to look at it. Can we have, I call it a BEB. Can we think of, by the time we leave here, to have a built environment body that would be a strong point? And I wrote here that we should be able to let this body be strong in the next 1 year before these party politicians start picking their presidential candidates and let the person come and stand here and let us question the people and force our ideas into manifestos. Let's start thinking about it. Can we become a pressure group? You know, so that we can force these guys to understand. And I've been talking about this. Last week, I published an article and I was looking at, out of the 261 MMDAs, 10 architects. So they said I wasn't telling the truth. So they brought me the list. It is 12. Thank you very much.
I was afraid if I allowed him to go on that line, we'll have to listen to him for another 50 minutes. Papa Quiz. Yes.
So thank you all very much. It's been insightful. It's been nice listening to you all. A few things that have come up that I would want to start from. The vision. And the vision, I think, is a great idea. And then the acquisition of the green belts. It throws my mind to the Achimota Forest. The big green belt in Accra. What is the situation now? What is the position of government? What are our politicians doing? Else we'll always come, discuss, they will do their own thing. I think it's wonderful that we have come together as a group, and we must keep the group as has been suggested. And when we speak, we should speak as with one voice, the built environment professionals speaking. So it's good that we come, we discuss, and come up with the great solutions. I believe a lot of the problems have already been outlined. And I would want to look at some of the ways by which we need to bring in solutions. The governance issues, I'll leave it with the MMMDAs. Flooding in Accra, and now not just Accra, all the other cities are following suit. And we need to do something about it. I'd been thinking, the government has already had certain acquisitions. All the pylons, the right of way is there. You go to Fiesta. If it rains, you can't use that junction. Rightly so, they are building under them. But can't we build other things? Have we thought about having reservoirs, reinforced concrete reservoirs under the pylons where you have low-lying areas? Any low-lying area where there are roads, we spend so much money on the asphalt roads. Then we allow the water to sit on the roads and destroy them. Why can't we, in the design stage, include collection points? Insofar as we are reducing the amount of water that just goes over, would reduce the flooding. What about the buildings? The buildings are just coming up. When I came around, I look, I say, oh, engineers, I didn't see any rain gutters. I say, oh, Yates. Where you see the rain gutters, they come down and they spill onto the roads. Meanwhile, we've paved everywhere. Can we make it mandatory that once you are building, you must have rainwater harvesting? Little drops of water makes a mighty flood in Accra. And I think that we need to be able to begin to look at that. You hear a fire service go to a place and they'll tell you, when we came, there was no water. There's no hydrants. Yes, there are no hydrants. And I can't see hydrants being built so easily, particularly when our Galamsey is also going on the higher trajectory. So when the floods come, should we see it as a resource rather than a problem? If we see it as a resource, let us tap into it. Those reservoirs, can they become fire hydrants? Can they be water sources where when roads are being done, water can be collected from it to water the road and keep us away from the dust? The acquisition of lands. Accra is now probably at Winneba. And wherever you go, it is extending. I remember when we were kids, we were told that, oh, Ghana, we don't like flats, we don't like high rise. The high rises are going up all around us. Government takes taxes. Government gives subsidies. Can't fiscal policy be used to direct the way developments go, so that if you go high rise, you have subsidies. And if you just go flat, you have major taxes, so that you are discouraged. We pool resources and stop this lateral spread and rather do vertical developments. If we are not rushing to go and take the Ebri Mountains and beyond, I believe the flooding would go down. The stress that children and parents have to go through to commute, all that will go down. So we are looking at public health. And the recent floods, I was asking myself, hey, Ebola, if Ebola was in Ghana, the spread would have been terrible. And so it is not just an issue about the people in the built environment. The medics have a voice to shout out for something to be done. The policymakers, our politicians, we need to find a way of bringing them on board. And I like the way Tony ended. And then the businessmen, those who have the money to develop. We've done too much of lateral, and I think that we should together try and move into the vertical. I should believe that if we are able to do that, fire service would benefit. The little water that we have, we'll use it for drinking and other more useful things. And then the wastewater, the flood waters, we can use it for other things. The rainwater that we harvest, is it possible that we begin to say that, look, when we are building, all our plumbing design using rainwater or other for flushing and just one for wholesome water use? We should be able to do some of these things, and it should be mandatory on our colleague professionals at the assemblies to ensure that the proper things that we have all agreed upon are done. We would have to add prayers to that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sevilla Quist. We will stretch our legs a little bit. We'll take a group picture first, and then probably we can do more justice to the things behind us. Within the next 10, 15 minutes, then we can come back and try to see how we move forward. Thank you very much. So let's say that in about 11:05, we'll be back on our chairs. So we'll go to the front there and take a group picture. Where's the photographer? Where's the...
Municipals district based on Tab Metro. So they were reversing. But the question he asked was that there's the missing gap of graduation. Surveyor president said we have to build vertically. And so does it mean in a small area like Bridge, with 5,000 people, Northridge becomes a district? Okay. Now, as we get districts, municipals, how do we graduate collective districts to become municipal without it being the population growth, but it's a combination? How do we combine municipals to become a metropolitan? So that is the formula that they are missing in their equation now. That's what I get from you, isn't it? Or you have it. So you have that. You have what it takes to create a district, a municipal, but you don't have a formula for combining districts to become municipal and municipals to become metropolitan.
Of land. Yeah. So then a certain part of that district, not the whole district, but a certain part of that district becomes so urbanized that you put it as a municipal. So there should be a certain, not just the population, but there should be a certain urban functionality change that it is there or is evolving that becomes the basis in addition to the population. So before a part of a district can become a municipal, that means that whole district has population which exceeds your thresholds already. But you are going to carve out a municipal out of that district because of its urbanized nature. So municipal qualification should go to critically urbanized sections of our district. That becomes the municipal. That means the district can still stand on its own, but a municipal is created out. Now, when you have a group of municipals coming together in a contiguous area, then they come together to form a metro. This concept of the spatial evolution of districts, and part of those districts can become municipals, and then the municipals, if they congregate around themselves in a certain way, can become a metropolitan. And then when they are becoming a metropolitan, you need to put that layer of metropolitan governance on because the municipals will still stay municipal, but certain functions would then have to be isolated to be handled at the municipal level, at the metropolitan level. So this concept of the decentralization in terms of the speciality and population things will have to be more complex than just 0.6% of the population or 2% of the population.
Yeah.
We have to have this discussion. So this is something that we probably together should put on the table when we are coming to you. So it's something, if we as built environment people think that this is a reasonable way to approach the thing, then we should find a way to put it in words that we understand and they will also understand so that we can be speaking the same language.
Yeah. Okay.
Kelly.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
And I'll take this as probably the last point on this level of this.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
So the whole issue for me, which is bringing up this association together, is because of functionality and service delivery. So if you are taking housing, which is another thing I'll talk separately, but you are looking at transport, the environment, sanitation, water. I was discussing with someone and I told him that no child in London will pick a bucket that I'm going to fetch water. Look at the size of London. Yet everyone opens their tap and it flows. But this small Gamma area, only cantonments and some few places in Adenta. So the planning forms the basis, as you said. And then the governance body is metropolitan governance body, which we are discussing. And in the past, per the plan you talked about, the 91 strategic plan, as at 1991, they identified that Accra should be a special territory area. And then we developed the Greater Accra Metropolitan Governance Area with the Joint Development Board, as they suggested, everything as we are discussing now. So that is something we've really done the analysis. My other layer is that apart from the Greater Accra Metropolitan Area, which is our focus now, the other emerging cities.
We are talking about general. Greater Accra is, but Kumasi is having the same problem.
So Greater Tamale Metropolitan Area, secondly, Takrade is coming, the Aflao, and then Hohoi, a number of them when you look at the spatial evolution of these settlements. So these governance bodies, how are we structuring them within our context? Maybe Accra could be a unique case. And even within the same country, sometimes you have the capital territory areas that have their governance body a bit different from the other areas. So I think that we can think around these two things. And then secondly, my issue is the point of housing. Though it does not really fall within the governance area, I think that if we miss the policy direction of housing, as we've left it over the years that everybody can build their own house, if you get money, go and build. Even London, one of the richest cities, if they are building these real estate cities, you are supposed to contribute something to low-income housing, which they call the planning gain. And many rich, expensive buildings are coming up. They don't contribute anything, nothing. So without this, how can the slums not continue to grow? So for me, it's a very critical area that we have to look at in terms of the, the governance review. Because if you don't get those income to help with low-income earners, how do you progress? So I think that is one critical area. And my last point also has to do with participatory budgeting. For me, if we change the laws to either electing or not electing, if you go to other countries, lots of African countries, and even Brazil and all those places we talk about, if it comes to infrastructure, determining the infrastructure that really delivers the city, the citizens themselves have a percentage. If it's 40% of the financing, they say, okay, this year we want roads, 40%. And not everything is left to the mayor, either elected or appointed. So I think that we really also have to go that direction, looking at our context. Other than that, we can change the laws, but in terms of real impact, the service delivery and what we are experiencing will be the same. I think those are the few points. And President, my last point, maybe I'll say it with Prof. Amache. At OEC study that looks at multiple governance in terms of the governance areas in a number of countries. So I'll leave it here and then maybe later we can discuss.
Yeah. Oh. Well, if we have that, then we have it in-house, because I think we have to form a working committee to put these things together for us. And certainly, Kakali, it looks like you have elected yourself to be inside already. Okay. Okay. Dr. Cobbin speak. Was there a lady also who wanted to speak? Okay. I can't overlook the lady.
Oh, sorry for that.
No, Cobbin, let's go. Then we'll go to the lady.
Yes, just a comment. Yeah. I'm
12,
happy that
12 o'clock is past.
Yeah. I'm happy that IMCC is working on the district creation policy. And you mentioned the percentage points. When Prof. Amache was talking, we have to look at, we see Chief raised an issue of ambiguity. We also have economic viability. Please, let's well-define economic viability indicators. These are very important. And you know something, when we are creating district, we think of administrative expansion and not development. When we start thinking of development, we will never leave Ghana Institute of Engineering out. We will never leave architects and planners out. I think we should have this in mind, that we are creating this district for what? Development, not just administrative expansion. Thank you.
And vote get in. Please pass to the lady. like Trump is doing in America.
I think I'll make mine very short because we have to close.
Sorry, before you speak, there are people online. The last time I asked, at least there were 30 people online. I've asked that I want to see the online people on the board so that we'll know we are with them, because you show us what we know we are doing already, and we don't know that there are other people on the other side, and it's unfair for us to be talking without behaving as if they don't exist. So please show the people there so that if somebody raises his hand there, we can see and ask the person to speak. Madam, sorry.
Yes, I was saying I'll make mine very short. I think it's more than clear that Ghana is a perfect country on paper. We've had incredible solutions as far back as God knows how long. And there's definitely a reason why all these intelligent minds are gathered and we still have the Ghana we have. And I think the elephant in the room is we know why. There's political undertones and influence. Perhaps it's about time we acknowledge that when it comes to physical infrastructure development, built environment, it is not political. Maybe all this conversation needs to happen without political direction. Must it be that even doing roads should be a political decision? Shouldn't it be a professional advice? Economic advice? I doubt that anywhere else that we travel to go and experience water and roads is a political promise. It is technical. It is, and we are sitting here with all the information to be able to deliver to our people for what we are professional, we've been trained with. That's my little contribution. Maybe we just have to start looking at this outside of political context. Thank you.
Screen the people who are online. I can't see, so that I don't know who to call. If someone, let's see the Zoom page. For the people who are online, we can see them. That's what is important now, so that we feel that we have them. Now we are speaking as if they don't exist. Okay, is there anybody online who wants to speak? On mute and speak. Okay.
Okay. So I just wanted to say that Dr. Corbin is here. He has worked with the National Development Planning Commission, and he's with the Office of the Head of Local Government Service. So Tony Asari, this is the office that employs, promotes, transfers, or deals with all 261 assemblies in Ghana, the staff. He's the office. So you see, when we take that, our other conversations, what is happening within the assemblies and the ethics issues and then the professionalism issues that we are having on our platforms, I think they form a strong basis. So together with this Office of the Head of Local Government Service, Ministry of Local Government itself, and then IMCC. For me, these three, as they sit here, they can carry some of our issues and things will be relatively better for us. So this is the information I want to put across. Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody online who has something to say? I can't see any hand. If you raise your hand, I will call you if you have something to say online. But I thought I was bringing this thing to a close. And then there's another lady and somebody raising their hand, but we at 12 o'clock time is past. Okay. Yes, I'm sure you have earned your lunch. Is lunch ready? Madam.
Thank you. I just
just call your name and then.
My name is Mrs. Akosia Sewa Mensah. I'm from the Ghana Institute of Architects.
Yes.
I just wanted to hear from the Hydrological Authority, because one of the main issues that need this greater metro attention is flooding. Because I think somebody mentioned, I can't remember who mentioned, that it's not an Accra issue. It starts from Ebri. We're a low-lying issue, a low-lying area, and the highlands around us, how they treat their area then comes to be a problem for our area. So, and they are an authority. So it means they can enforce and they have the authority to punish and do whatever needs to be done to make sure that our waterways are protected and the basins that we're supposed to have are protected. So I'd like to hear from their side
Well, you want
what the challenges are.
You want to open another agenda, and I don't want to succumb to the new agenda. We are trying to finish one agenda, please, and now you are introducing another agenda. If we go that line, we can talk about flooding for the rest of the time here. We have a paper on it.
I'm asking in terms of that greater metro governance.
Yeah.
How would they fit in when they are already an authority? That's what I'm asking. And what are the challenges they are having?
Please, 2 minutes.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity.
I saw a hand online, but it's gone down.
Yes, so I think that the greater discussion that we are having here is very good. But for me, in Ghana, I think we see, disaster risk management as an event. It is a process. And today we are here talking about, because this discussion have gone on all over the years. And it looks like it's only when there's an event, the flooding issues that are coming, therefore we come together to try to, put together some solutions. But we know the solutions. And these solutions we are supposed to implement. It should not be an event. It should be a process that we continuously, deal with it, even when the event is not happening. So then you'll be able to deal with it when the event starts happening, because then you would have built your capacity, you would have, improved your resilience and reduce your vulnerability. But what do we see? We only come very strong together. Once the event is over, we all go back to sleep. Today, we are talking about the flooding within the southern sector. Very soon, the Volta Basin will also come. July, August, the Vagri Dam will be opened, and we will have that conversation as well. We know the solutions. So, talking about the Ebri area right now, Madam, you see.
Okay, so this agenda I didn't want to open up.
Yes, but she has got it.
Please. She asked a specific question. The management, the greater metropolitan management system that we are talking about.
Yes. So the governance.
How do you see it in view of flood management? I think that's the question. So if you can focus on that, then we can. Because I don't want us to start discussing flooding in Accra. I have a lot to say on that.
Yeah. So I think that also has to get linked with the governance that we are talking about, because we see that there's a lot of weakness in our flood risk, management and governance structure. So, for instance, the assemblies, the local authorities, how are they coordinating with the state actors? The Ghana Authority, Ghana Hydrological Authority, Water Resource Commission, urban roads, all these Ghana Meteo in this disaster risk space. How are we coordinating in terms of even the structure, the governance, you see, so that when it happens, all of us are together. So because it shouldn't be like it's the assembly or the regional coordinating that's undertaking a major demolition to enhance flood resilience it should be a coordinated approach, so that one single institution is not singled out as carrying out a particular demolition to enhance resilience within the space. So I think the governance structure within the flood risk management is also very key, even as we are talking about the overall governance, greater governance, for the Greater Accra Assembly. So we need to really look at it. We really need to look at it as institutions, as state actors, assemblies, local authorities, because a lot of the places that we go, there's nowhere in the world that a river basin that is transiting various authorities or assemblies. You have various kinds of developments within the floodplains, within wetlands, within drainage corridors. I mean, there are no best systems in the world that even work with those kind of challenges around the world. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We are bringing this session of the discussion to a close. I had about 5 questions that I was going to ask. I only asked 1, but looking at the others, I think they've all been mixed up with this, because my next question have been land management and spatial planning. How do we look at it in the greater metropolitan infrastructure planning and delivery? How do we look at it in that line? Transportation and mobility, sustainability and resilience. And I said any other greater metropolitan strategies and systems. Flood has come up, I didn't mention it here, and other things. So I think we've answered. And so for me, that takes us to the last item on the agenda, which is the way forward. The way forward. Agreement on the next steps and joint position paper development. So let me go first, because I think basically we agree that we need to, there are all sorts of things which are in the law. We've gotten a lot of information on those things. They give us options for going forward. There are committees that has been option that has been done. There are other metropolitan structures rethinking MMDA's structure in terms of the way they relate to each other. Relationships and things is something probably we need to think about as an option, with examples from other places how they are doing it. Tekeli and Dr. Machi will appear to be able to give us some options of that, examples that we can speak to, so that we can analyze all these options available and then develop a paper, probably with a position that will go forward. So we need to put up a team to help us to arrive at this thing on greater metropolitan management. It doesn't matter, the name may change as we go, the title may change if we think it's fit, whatever. But we should look at all the options, and I think a joint committee will help in this step. So do we nominate people right here to form that joint committee so that we work on this? Yes, sir. Okay, so we should let it come officially. Okay, so we'll ask the 4 agencies. Then we can co-opt people from the local governance, thinker groups, IMCC to come and work with us, so that when we generate something, it will be something which they have an input into. Okay, okay. So we will do so. We'll do so. We'll do so. We will generate, because we are coordinating this, we'll generate a letter to ask that question, get the input, and then we'll put the team together and get the team to start working. It will appear that we have to be very quick, because they are amending 936. And in 3 months' time or something, it will go to Parliament. And these days, because of the fast track, what do they call it in Parliament? But by the time you read, the floor is fast, and then you start fighting at the back. So that's the first step. That in terms of this paper on greater metropolitan urban management, we are putting a team together to work on this specific agenda. Okay, so that's one agreement. And then the second is, as built environment people, how do we move this agenda forward? Engineer Brock had said something that probably if we start working on something which is broader than just this single topic thing that we've discussed today, in terms of what we want as built environment professionals, we can develop something that we can feed into the public discussion narratives and also into the manifestos of future manifestos in the way that we can generate some influence. So we also need to look at it in that wider term. This special committee is for this purpose. But again, do we say that the president, for president, we should engage and consolidate a concept paper on our continuing collaboration so that we can share with each other and see how we proceed? So I will leave it to the four presidents to do that. So these are, for me, in terms of going forward, the two areas. Number three, how do we communicate the output of our first product? I think that's the third area. When we started the informal discussions, you mentioned that when we develop a paper, can we go and present it to the president? Is it something that we should aim at? And can we get assistance through IMCC to get that? Okay. Okay. We'll be very grateful for that. And if there's a meeting, I can get some of us to join so that we can speak together on this. Okay, so that's also another actionable point that will generate that discussion from there. And then, Caleb, you are here with us and you've heard all our secrets. If we develop something, what will you suggest to be the way to get it out there? City is just one place, but just talk generally. We know Burmese, you have become our friend, so we cannot do without you.
Thank you. So initially, I was going to suggest that we try and work with the media very closely because of the kind of campaign we want to wage and the sort of influence we want to bring to bear. If you're talking about the doctors, for example, and the influence they have on our political class, is really because, yes, it's life and death, but very often they utilize the media a lot often, so very often. So I think through communiques, press releases, and engagements as we are doing, that works. So at all times, let's come along with the media, the professionals in the space who are already affiliated with the built environment, let's engage them. There are those of us too who are enthusiasts, who follow the space or just care about the space and want to learn more about what is going on. So I got to know about this yesterday and I'm here. So it just tells you that when next we put anything out, you let us know, we'll be here. There is us, we are allies, and then we can help also get many more of our colleagues along. So that I feel that is not a problem at all. Yeah, it shouldn't be an issue.
Thank you very much. So unless there's something that is so missing from this discussion that anybody wants to say, it's all other matters. But the only thing I'm ready to do is for us to close at 12:30. I would have missed my target by 30 minutes. Only 30 minutes. Okay. So and each person speaks for 1 minute. You first, then I'll come to you.
Okay, so in terms of the way forward, I think that Catholic Bishops' Conference have gained a lot of influence over the political class. And so we can partner with them. Especially also we are looking at effecting change in society because they have direct engagement with the church members. And so if they understand our position as built environment, it will be easy to communicate to their members and also join us in the advocacy we want to advance. And then I also want to propose that in all this thing, I think that we've left out the fact that we need to look at a bipartisan approach to our proposals. Because if we work with just one government and they accept our proposals, the continuity becomes a challenge. And so we need to factor a bipartisan approach. So even in our committee, if we can consider bringing the political parties so that from the onset they understand what we want to advance, so that within change of government, that understanding will be there. Thank you.
Okay, so for my 1 minute, does it start now?
Oh,
President
yes,
is not
yes,
paying
start it,
attention.
start it.
So just on what he had said, I think one of the people that we can bring on board will be the National Development Planning Authority, because they have a more national agenda point of view, and then we can tap into that to transition. Mr. President, the one thing, the any other business I was hoping we would have tackled is the existing challenges we have with the MMDAs, which Ghana Institute of Architects presented in a letter to us. And they have taken certain actions towards those things. If we can find, in tackling this bigger picture, it's important to look at the existing challenges in the MMDAs and look at it from that. I know I sound like a broken record, but their letter specifically looked at things that they have identified. And as GHIE, we have also identified some challenges with our people who are in the assemblies. So if we could not miss that in this discussion that we have on the way forward, we should also look at those structures and tackle them as well.
Very much.
I second.
Yeah, so mine is two. The first one is our communication plan, and I think Caleb has mentioned it. What we do is that, we should have a plan. Why is that any program, Saturdays, you see them calling Imani, you see them calling Pebu, you see them calling, there are some people, they are like the friends of the media. I don't want us to be jack of all trades, so let's not talk on everything. But at least when it comes to the built environment, let's work out in such a way that we are on standby to talk. And we should also have links with the people. Because in most cases, I've called Bernard on some issues on the side. At times, you see that the issue is on a different tangent altogether. I try to interject because I realize that it is coming from an uninformed place. But at times, I don't get a space. I don't get a space to make. Then over 30, 40, 50 minutes, it goes on that negative trajectory and it becomes an issue. So let's have a plan, a communication plan. So maybe at the tanker side, we can plan how we get our things out. The second one has to do with we ourselves as professionals. At times, as engineers, planners, at times some of our colleagues, when they are writing the papers, writing the articles, you read it and you realize that they lack some information. But because of the way we want to keep the momentum, we don't want to attack ourselves in public, because immediately we do that, then we break the distance, because it happens. It has happened before. So I want us to be focused. Once maybe Ghana Institute of Architects, you want to publish something, or planning, we want to publish something, or engineers, we want to publish something, let us use our presidential platforms to throw the thing in so that we can look at the issue and tweak it, give you, try to critique it and give us the full picture before it goes out, so that once the backlash comes, we can together defend what has gone out. I see this a lot. I'm saying this because among all the professionals, for me, I see myself almost in all the 261 assemblies. We are there, continuous, 261. And I know he has always used our systems. If you call me anywhere, 261 assembly, and you want anything, I can get you within a minute or two. And just by putting this on our platforms, I can see quite a number of them. I can see Tamale, I can see Bolga, I can see Techiman, I see Kumasi, Professor Ayi is there. So that is the power that we have by way of influence. So let's use ourselves.
Mr. President. Okay, so no, I have 2 minutes to close, and I think the discussions will continue. You look too big, oh. Say what you want to say.
No, I'm here to intimidate you so we can talk. No, I was just saying we have to put into action some of these things. And I know we want to put committees together, but take, for example, we all talk about problems. So take, for example, Tetekwashi, maybe the I'm taking the smallest problem. Around the mall, this whole shanty thing that has come together. I think it would be good if in putting these committees together, we also create working committees whose job is to say, this is what it is. This is what it can be, with proper statistics to say. It's not that it's going to be implemented. Sometimes we need to show them what we are talking about, because you would think it's just talk. But if you can do, people do exhibitions. If you can do that and simply say, the built environment professionals are simply showing you that this existing problem, this is how you can solve it realistically. Without anybody taking any payment, there's nobody, it's a bit of pro bono to be able to make the point to government that start taking the professionals seriously. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. I'm so grateful for this discussion. This pet issue about greater metropolitan management has been on my heart for a long time. And every time I met my colleagues, I'll always push it up down their throats. But because of the fear that we are asking for a new superstructure, which means changing laws and all those things, it looks like something which is unachievable, far away. So there's always that fear. So people will throw things at you just to keep you at bay. But really the issues are there, and we need to discuss it and look at what options we have available and what we can take forward. What we can take forward in the short run, what we can take forward in the long run. We can look at all those things. So thank you very much. We have worked this thing together, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy about it. And there are other areas in which we can collaborate. Engineer Magnus said this is something that started when he was president. And he was president long ago. He was one of the youngest presidents. He was a branch president. When you have to retire, you have to, like me, you have to chop 60 before you chop president. He chopped president when he was like 40 something or 30 something. So he's a brand here. He was a brand here. Now it's no more a brand here. He's now an old man. But that was about around 10 years ago or something. He spoke about 2016 or so, and the effort that started went away. It existed only in a very loose way, because we still have a platform where we throw forward a few things, but we have not really collaborated in this substantial way that we've done today. So, and we think that we can do more than today. So we'll work towards those aims. Thank you very much for coming. I want to turn especially to the people we invited outside these 4 groups. And you are one of us, but we invited Hydro. We invited Urban Rose, but I've not seen them here. We invited IMCC. They are here. We invited the Ministry of Local Government. They are here. We invited NALAG. NALAG is here. Who else did we invite? Pardon me? Office of the Head of Local Government. They are here. So again, there's been a lot of goodwill from the people we invited to join us. We invited Caleb, and he's also here with us. We are very grateful for that. And thank you for coming. And actually, from my personal assessment, you've earned lunch. And I'm told that there's lunch, but it's downstairs. Is it eat here or take away? It's a takeaway. So that means we don't want to take any more of your time. If you want to hang around to chat with a few friends, you can still do it. We have a shed over there. There are tables and chairs there. If you want to finish your thing before your children take it away from you at home, you can do it. And yes. So I hear there's a table at the entrance. When you are leaving, you can just pick what is there for you. So thank you again, and thank you, and thank you. And we'll continue. I think we need to close with a prayer. Mrs. Architect, Mrs. You look at me, yes. Please pray for us. Oh, okay. Choose.
Let's pray. Almighty and eternal God, we thank you for giving us life, helping us all to wake up this morning in good health, bringing us all here safely. We thank you for all the issues that we have discussed. We thank you for the knowledge and intelligence you have bestowed us all with. We pray that all this information and all this knowledge and all this data will not just be for a talk shop here, but it will go to achieve all the things that we all want to see for our country. We commit the politicians and the institutions that we need to engage with into your hand. We pray, Lord, that you go ahead of us, open a way for us, that this time it will not just be a talk shop, but this time we will see progress, we will see change. We are not different from all the countries that we visit. You have bestowed us, you have created us all in your image. We are all capable of achieving what the other countries that we visit have achieved. And we pray, Lord, that from this moment, we'll begin to see change in our built environment. In Jesus' mighty name, we pray with thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen. Yeah, so on behalf of the president of the Built Environment Professionals, we want to thank you all for coming, especially our audience online. We really appreciate your presence. We know you got the link quite late, but you followed whatever that we've discussed. And as I earlier mentioned, I can see most of you across the length and breadth of the country and from academia. Thank you all for coming. We'll meet again next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. And those online, please, you can also pass by the gate and pick your food.
Hey.
Hello. I'm also informed that the GIS also made a contribution. And the planners also have made a contribution to this meeting. Thank you very much. I'll give you my check. Hope I know you.
Please, online, we are passing by for our refreshments.